Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. The simple fact is, Gareth Southgate just simply is not good enough to coach at the highest level. Now, we may well win the Euros, we're stuck with him now, but he's got to go. If we want, the World Cup is the biggest thing you can win in national football. There's a major tournament coming up in America. We've got a fantastic squad. What will be in the Euros, but Southgate has to go. It's laughable that he gets linked to the Manchester United job and then presides over a big steaming turd of 2 home games against Brazil and Belgium. And Bellingham, fair play, got him out of jail a little bit. But the Euros will take care of themselves. He's got to go afterwards. And if any Premier League club is stupid enough to take him and his coaching staff, that's on them, whether it's my club, Manchester United, or anybody else. But there is one clear candidate here. Now, I was talking about this on the podcast. You can check it out this week. We've got a pair of Predator Adidas boots you can get hold of as well. Scan that QR code, go and give it a listen. But I mentioned the name Jose Mourinho, and Will nearly fell off his chair. Now, we didn't get a chance in the podcast to really delve into it too much, but I'm going to delve into it here. Jose Mourinho, who would you replace Gareth Southgate with? I want to see in the comments where you'd go with this, because for me, it's Jose Mourinho. He's just given an interview to Fabrizio Romano saying that he wants to get back into football. The day after the sacking with Roma, he was wanting to get straight back into it, and he said, look, in previous times where you've been sacked or you leave, you want a bit of a break, but he said the day after the Roma game, I wanted to get back into management. He's mentioned Saudi Arabia. He's mentioned the Portuguese national team. I think England would be bloody stupid not to, this is project win the World Cup. If I'm the FA, I was doing the watch along last night for England against Belgium. I did the one for Brazil. And the amount of comments, if I was in the FA, and they won't do this because they've got to remove their head from their arse first, but the amount of disaffection towards the England national team is incredible. Now, some people want to make that political and say it's the state of England now, there's no national pride, everything's crumbling, the government, the NHS and all that stuff. Maybe there is a truth in that, I don't know. But what I do know is when the Euros kicks, people will have their flags up. They'll be down the pub. They'll be watching the watch-alongs. They'll be excited like I am. So if you can ignite that for the Euros and the World Cup, it's because it's the Euros and the World Cup that ignites that patriotism and the want for England to win. But with other countries, they have it all the time. There's an interest. There's no interest in this England team. There's no interest in Southgate's regime. And that's incredible when you think of the players that we've got. Mainoo was brilliant last night, but you've already got the Sakas, the Kanes, the Bellinghams, the Rices, the Fodens, the Stones. There's so many good players in that England team. There's so much to be proud about as an English person. And there's so much for non-English people to look at that England team and go, wow, that's a great team. I want to watch it, like people have done with Brazil over the years. Southgate doesn't tap into that because he's beige. He's Mr. Grey. He is not appealing as an England manager. He's a politician. He should leave being the England coach and go and be the Conservative Party member for Surrey or something, or Labour or whatever he wants to do. He's a politician. He's not a manager. And England need that. And that's why I would go for Jose Mourinho. And people would say, but Mark, the football under Mourinho would not be that good. You've got to get into what international football is all about. Deschamps, the football's not great. We've seen it with Brazil. It's not always great. International football is its own thing. You only get the players 4 or 5 times a year. You only play 2 games and then you don't play again for 3 months. You get this compact tournament football. It really is about man management and it really is about mentality. I don't think there's anybody better in the game than Jose Mourinho. If you gave Jose Mourinho a 2-year contract and said, we want to win the World Cup. Now, England did this with Venables. After the 94 World Cup when we didn't qualify, he only managed us from then to Euro 96 and we nearly bloody won it. You give Mourinho a 2-year deal, because he might not want to do it for 5 or 6 years anyway. You give Mourinho a 2-year deal and say, this is Project Win the World Cup. And everyone knows it's Project Win the World Cup. He comes in, he automatically, in that dressing room at St. George's Park or Wembley or wherever it is, no player in that dressing room is bigger than Jose Mourinho. And when it comes to winning things as an underdog or as a favourite, nobody can do what Jose Mourinho's done, whether it's with Porto, Chelsea, Inter, whatever. He comes in, and no player in that team can sort of go, he's useless and this, that and the other. It's a mentality thing. And if the FA is serious, that 2-year deal ticks every single box. And if he wins the World Cup and he wants to stay on for the Euros, great. If he wins the World Cup and he wants to walk away, great. But let's maximise It's like a Formula One car. You've got the car that can win the race. Don't put Miss Bloody Daisy in there, or whatever Southgate's analogy is. Put the best guy you can get. Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, whatever. Put them in that car and win the race. And as I said, the Euros will be what it will be. I still think we could win the Euros, but that's not a reason to keep Southgate. We would win the Euros with Jose Mourinho. We would win the Euros with a decent coach. If we win it with Southgate, we've got away with it. But the World Cup has to be the pinnacle. And even if he wins the Euros, get rid of him and get someone like Mourinho in. I say Mourinho. Look, for me, the big thing is we need a project for the World Cup. We've got the players. We've got the squad. There's going to be more players coming through. There's an abundance of talent. Let's give that squad a manager it deserves instead of a coaching setup that belongs in the mid-table of the Championship. I mean, I look at the coaches he employs. I look at the manager and I go, you do well to take Carrick's job at Middlesbrough. I think Michael Carrick, McKenna at Ipswich, they are better coaches with a better coaching setup than the England national team. We need to put the right driver in this Formula One car that can win the race. And that is what England needs to do. And if it doesn't do it, it's another political failure by the FA. Absolutely needs to be done. I want to see this team win the World Cup. I believe it can do. I watched them the last couple of games. There's some fantastic players, but they're playing on vibes. They're not playing on system. You know, we did play quite well when we were behind to Belgium because it's like, let's go for it. But when we're not in that situation, it's pragmatic, it's boring, it's rubbish, and it needs to change. 100% it needs to change. Look, there's people out there that defend Southgate. I think they do it because he's a nice guy. I don't think they do it because they genuinely think he's a good coach, because he just isn't. And I'm open to other options out there, but bottom line, we need to get the best out of what we've got, and we're just not. I saw this with Eriksen. I saw it with Capello. You know, I've seen it for so many years with England. We've got some great players. Why can't we ever get it right? It's so bloody obvious. Get a proper manager in. Now, maybe Jose Mourinho doesn't want the job, but you still need to go and get a manager of that type to come in and do a Project World Cup. 2 years. You know, knock on Pep's door. He'd probably say no, but knock on somebody's door who's basically, it's a 2-year gig. Don't make them think they're here for 6, 7, 8 years. You know, 2-year Project World Cup, the best collection of players in the world with you, go and win the World Cup. And it shouldn't be a problem. You've got so many players. You're not reliant on if Harry Kane gets injured, you can't win the World Cup. You've got so many players. Couple of years of qualifying, into a tournament, mentally ready, tick, 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 World Cup. It's there to be done. Get your comments in below. Make sure you smash a like on the video. What are your thoughts? And also, don't forget, check out the podcast, scan the QR code. You could win yourself a pair of Adidas Predator football boots exclusively on the podcast on Spotify. And we've got a cracking little video with Will coming up later with, you know, one of these championship football challenges. So check out that coming out later as well. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. I'll speak to you on the next one.